Hello, my name is Alexander Morari, and I'm the founder of ITKeyMedia. You've tuned into our podcast about Central and Eastern European startups that are in pre-Series A stage. And today our guest is Märt Kroodo, the co-founder of IoT. IoT is the first telecom independent global connectivity provider to build an eSIM infrastructure and aims to modernize the connectivity industry. Tere hommikust, Märt.
Tere, tere. Nice to be here. So thank you for the invitation.
Look, there's good reason for that as well, because you are writing somewhere in your documents that you want to be, or you have all the reasons to become the standard of connectivity in IoT industry.
Yes, indeed.
Is this an overstatement? Not.
Probably not. So yeah, what we see on the market that huge boom is expected from IoT sector. So it's expected that there will be more and more connected devices around us that are measuring something or exchanging information and so on. But the problem is that first of all, there are a lot of countries in the world. In each and every country, there are multiple telecoms or virtual telecoms. So there are roughly like 800 MNOs or mobile network operators and 1,200 mobile virtual network operators. So companies who want to scale globally and roll out their devices in different countries in the world are facing already this obstacle that there are so many telecoms in the world in different countries. And if you want to operate with your devices or sell your devices to different regions and countries, then it's pretty hard to address this problem. Also, there are different cellular technologies like 4G, 3G, 2G, now narrowband IoT or LTM are coming up. So different technologies to choose from. Then some countries are closing 2G networks, some are closing 3G networks. And then you also have your hardware related problems, which module to pick for your device and so on. So we saw the opportunity that there needs to be a middleman like IoT who actually gathers multiple telecoms under one service. And that's why we are called IoT as well, that we gather multiple telecoms under one service, under one eSIM and under one SIM management platform. So they get one service from us, but actually access to different telecoms. And we are providing eSIMs in the first place. And what this eSIM is that it enables to swap telecoms over the air. So they receive an eSIM card from us physically. It looks the same as a regular SIM card, but it can swap telecom. So from day one, you can start with one telecom, and the next day you can swap to the other telecom with a click of a button without touching the physical SIM. But there needs to be some middleman in between because those telecoms are not collaborating with themselves, and we see that if we gather them under one service, then there's a huge value because those IoT companies then can deal with their core business and leave the connectivity side to IoT. And I think the very critical aspect besides providing eSIM card is that we have the platform where they can sign in, they can see all of their SIM cards, they can see all of the information about the SIM cards, where they are located, how much they are consuming. They can control those SIM cards. They can switch them on and off. They can set data limits. They can send SMSs. They can receive notifications if some anomalies happen with the SIM. they can integrate all of the functionalities via APIs with their own, backends or systems. They can, get analytics and so on. So I think the management part is maybe even trickier, especially when they are scaling globally and going to different markets. And if all of those devices are very far from their headquarters, and how to control them, how to see what's going on, how to make sure that everything is under control. So OneOT takes care of this. And yeah, we provide one platform, one eSIM, one end of month invoice, one support channel. So if something goes wrong, it's OneOT to blame or turn to. So they don't need to chase different telecoms themselves, or it's just one partner to blame. And yeah, that's the value we provide to our customers. And yeah, like you said, it's like a Tinder of telecoms, because they can go on the platform, they can swipe left or right and pick the best telecom that meets their needs or use case or pricing, and they can just find a match, and off they go.
Although, Märt, we both agreed that in our situations and in our personal experiences, Tinder is just a theoretical knowledge, and you use it as a figure of speech rather than referring to your own experience. Okay, yes, great. It sounds almost like too good to be true, should I say, provocatively, okay? But let's make a step backwards. So as far as your client and client base, you mentioned IoT, maybe not everybody knows this is Internet of Things, revolution, evolution, all combined. And just to explain a little bit the context, maybe you will add on. These are the companies that are doing what, like smart homes, wearables, smart city, healthcare related stuff like telemedicine and similar. And actually, any device that you want to communicate either over the internet with the user or with some service provider or data cruncher and so on. So any device that used to be speechless, should I say, and now is becoming to speak, to talk, to communicate with wider network or some manager or supervisor, right, of a system or something. Now clear. Then if I understand correctly, this is pretty important. I think you are actually issuing, or you are giving your clients physical card, SIM card, which you call eSIM card, right?
Yep.
And if I'm a client, I'm an IoT company, for example, I'm installing sensors, air quality sensors, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I install your SIM card. And then on your dashboard, on your platform, I see all the options available to me in the specific market, within the specific budget that I need, and reliability, and so on and so on. This is what you're doing. So it seems to me that it's, just to say, trickier part here is not the technicalities, but rather how you manage to combine and accumulate, let's say, goodwill of all the carriers to switch right away. Because in everybody's personal experience, and maybe in companies' experience as well, it's not easy to switch from a carrier to a carrier, especially because you are chasing what? You're chasing cheaper or low cost kind of contracts, and usually this is long-term contracts with some penalties for terminated the contract before some specific deadline. How did you deal with that? It does seem to be the biggest hassle.
Yeah, it is. Like every telecom has a roaming footprint around the world, but the logic is that the further you go from their core market, the pricier the roaming is, because every telecom are like they are negotiating those prices with those roaming networks. and the more traffic they have in particular country, the better the pricing is.
Yeah, okay.
And what we do is that we take multiple telecoms and see who has the best price or coverage or quality in which country. And like I said, the logic is that if we take the European telecom, then in Europe they have a very decent, usually very decent roaming coverage and very good pricing, but probably in Asia they don't have. And for Asian market, we need some other telecom to cover those. And we see that, and we try to combine different telecoms under one service, so that each and every market or country in the world has good footprint, meaning that there are multiple networks opened, like in each and every country, 2 or 3 telecoms that the SIM card can choose from, and of course the pricing needs to be good as well. And what makes us special as well, that we have volume deals with telecoms. And we try to, and of course through a bigger volume we get better pricing that the customer would get themselves. Even if we put the margin on top, it's usually still better compared to getting it directly from telecom. Of course, depending market by market, country by country, but usually it is like that. And the other angle is that we try to see the quality as well, that whether there are multiple networks per country opened in the roaming footprint or not. And of course we have integrated our platform to all of those telecoms to get the information about the usage, to get the controlling mechanism in place as well, that if the client wants to close the SIM, they can do it right away with a click of a button without calling someone. They can see the consumption, they can see all of the sessions, session by session, minute by minute, what is happening with the SIM. And that's very important. And the other angle is that telecoms usually want, like you said, contracts come with a lot of clauses, a lot of fine printed clauses in the contracts, restrictions about the termination and so on. We made it simple. They can terminate the contract and close the SIM whenever they wish. There are no commitments we take from our customers. So that is another angle we're pushing heavily, that companies that are using us are free to choose whichever telecom and swap over to another one whenever they see the need and wish to do it.
Because the actual number provided by the carrier, by the telecom company in a specific market remains in your portfolio, right? That you purchased already, and then you can reassign it to another client. I guess for another physical eSIM card that you already shipped to your client and they installed. And what they don't see, or they might, or whatever, that you're allowing your clients, like myself and with my sensor of air quality, allowing me to close and to be flexible with my SIM cards and so on. Just because if I close my account, or if I close the SIM card from my dashboard, the number itself that you contracted with the carrier is still in your portfolio, right? You just, and then it's your challenge and your, let's say, motivation to find another IoT device to put the number, to assign the number to another eSIM card that you physically issued and shipped to the client. Okay, cool. Wow, interesting.
Yes, and so we are like acting like a, I don't know, warehouse or bank of different like telecom profiles that our customers can use, and we have contracts with those telecoms, and we are managing the customer relationship with our customers. They don't have a contract directly with those telecoms. Customers have contract with us, and we have contract with telecoms.
Yeah, you do the whole buy and then sell in smaller batches, smaller packages to your clients. That especially, look, the very idea of me being flexible enough to close down a SIM card without additional penalties and expenses, this alone is like fairy tale for many IoT companies. Not to waste not only the money but also the time, the effort, and the all the communication with local carriers and providers. Okay, cool.
Yep. And yeah, ideally it would be to have a, I don't know, global Wi-Fi, right, that everybody can connect to. But currently, eSIM is solving most of those problems, because you can swap over from one to another. And market wise, like, who are those IoT companies? We are serving the full spectrum of those IoT companies. And maybe to give some examples that who are using our services. First of all, of course, we can see a lot of micromobility companies. You can see on the streets a lot of scooters that you can rent, or bikes, or nowadays even cars, or car sharing. They all have those SIMs and devices in, because if you, I don't know, unlock and start using a scooter, it through the internet needs to unlock it, and those are all connected, and all of the scooters on the streets, all of the bikes on the streets that you can rent, those are connected. So that's a big sector. Then asset tracking, for example, all of the trucks or containers, or even cold chain management, all of those are tracked. Frozen food is tracked, whether it is frozen throughout the journey. All of those have trackers in. All of those are nowadays equipped with tracking devices with SIMs and access to the internet, because they send information, or consumers need to communicate with the device, either unlock it, or I don't know, open the door, or switch the engine on. That's a big sector. Then of course agriculture. Nowadays a lot of like moist sensors and those things are out on the field, giving information to farmers whether they need to what's the situation on the field. Then healthcare devices, for example, we have heart rate monitors in hospitals using our SIMs. Then of course smart city solutions, like nowadays all of those street lamps or parking sensors, or water meters or gas meters, all of those are connected to the internet. And like you said, stupid devices are made smart by connecting them to the internet and allowing either send information or users to control something. But we have like connected birds, for example. Some birds that are dying out and are in danger are equipped with tracking devices. For example, we have golf carts, beehives, sheep, cows, so different use cases for sure. But like it ranges, and IoT, or Internet of Things, is part of pretty much all of the industries in the world. It's not a standalone industry itself. It actually, IoT is part of manufacturing, part of smart cities, logistics, so different industries in the world. Because it makes our lives more efficient, and if we collect the data or can control devices remotely, then it adds a lot of value to the world.
No, definitely. IoT has just started its sweeping kind of growth and evolution all over the world. Look, it seems from your documents again, I understand that you have sold already 1 million, over 1 million SIM cards right now, which means more or less, right, that there's out in the wild 1 million, over 1 million IoT devices with your eSIM cards, true?
Yes, correct.
Cool. Deployed in 130 countries or so. Okay. Now, tell me, have there been any cases when your clients joined your platform and terminal just because they were just starting to roll out their expansion, and at some point they decided that it's better to be outside of your terminal for any reasons, and maybe it's cheaper, although I understand that it might be a little bit difficult, or for some other reasons? Another way to say, have you seen clients leaving after they considerably grew on the platform? And if yes, why would this be so?
Yeah, of course we have seen it. Really depends on the use case and case by case. Some have just found that, I don't know, if they have a very high data volume case, for example, a device consuming lots of gigabytes per month per SIM, then for those cases, of course, it's still better to have a local telecom deal, because we can't compete in those areas. So there are some customers who are forced to use local deals in different countries because their use case demands this, because price-wise, we are too expensive for very high data volume use cases. Okay. So those cases we have seen a lot, and but yeah, not, I don't know, I don't know how many, but not many companies have left. So we have been scaling together. As we started 6 years ago, then we are still regarded a young company, and also scaling young companies. So usually it works like this, that we are scaling together with our customers. We get also smaller customers that we scale together with. We won't win like big tenders or cases right away when, you know, big guys play with big guys, small guys play with small guys, and this is how we have developed over the years as well. We have just grew together with our customers, and we started with very small customers operating with few SIMs, and then now we have, of course, customers who are using tens or hundreds of thousands of SIMs from us. So maybe hopefully then in the future we have also customers having, you know, 500,000 or 1,000,000 SIMs from us. So we're getting there as well. But yeah, we have helped a lot of customers to expand to different countries in the world, or even, you know, globally. And that's the tricky part, that when they launch whatever IoT device to the market, they also do not know whether they end up selling this device to which part of the world, or where the opportunity, you know, comes in. So it's good for them to use our service because the market is open for them. They have no restrictions. They can expand to whichever country using our service without, you know, changing much changing nothing at all on their you know, back end or connectivity side.
So you want to say, as far as implementation of onboarding of new clients is easy, and you don't spend a lot of time, effort, money on onboarding clients?
Yes and no. It is easy, but the sales cycles are still long in this
Why?
field, because clients are anyway setting up their devices or rolling out new versions of the devices. They test the SIMs out, they test it through, then they start the manufacturing, then they find the customers, then they roll it out. You know, usually it's half a year to a year project where they actually reach to the quantities they actually claim to have. So even if we already signed the deal or see that the customer is happy, then we don't see, you know, right away thousands or tens of thousands of SIMs coming live, because it takes a lot of time for them to set it all up. But the good thing is that once it's up, then it's up and running for, you know, 5 or 10 years.
What's the minimum number of eSIMs per client that you have for that, per customer after the pilot? I mean, because I understand you do some piloting and so on. If they're happy, then they start to thinking about number of eSIMs. Is there a minimum limit?
No, we haven't set any minimums. They can order one eSIM if they wish to. So of course we are not happy with that, and but yeah, we haven't set any minimum order quantities. And you know, that's one thing that we agreed from early on as well, that we need to make global connectivity accessible to everyone. So they don't need to provide any commitments. They can stop whenever they wish or terminate the contract, and they can start with one SIM and then see how it goes. So there's no like binding things, you know, hidden things for them that they need to agree on or take the risk.
But you do a qualification of your tenants rather than just blindly, or let's say loyally relying on your mission, right? You do.
Yeah,
you do.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of education that needs to be done on that market as well. And we try to automate a lot of things as well, especially during the onboarding phase, when they, you know, start with their proof of concepts or testing their devices out. So this is a tricky part for sure, that how to onboard customers, how to make sure they understand how things work, how they need to configure the devices and so on. So IoT sector is a tricky one, because it's not as easy as inserting this SIM card to the iPhone and, you know, off you go, you have internet and boom, you can start using the service. They are using like relatively small, cheap IoT modules that needs to be configured according to the use cases, and things go wrong there for sure. And this is what makes us special as well, that we are much closer to the customer compared to telecoms, who are just selling SIMs and not providing any, you know, additional knowledge or support on top. Sometimes even not providing the, you know, platform where customers can see the SIMs or control the SIMs, and customers, I don't know, need to call to the support to close the SIMs or and just receive the end of month invoice. But, you know, imagine that if you have tens of thousands of SIMs across different countries, then just receiving the end of month invoice to see whether everything is correct or has something gone wrong or not, then it's not scalable. It's not future proof for them. They can't operate like that.
One question then about the customers. How do you look for new customers, or is it already inbound only?
It's both.
What I mean, it could be just a kind of a game of you being experts of IoT industry yourself, seeing who is up and running, kind of a company in this sector, who does, to be very straightforward. Maybe it would be also a good idea for you, maybe you're doing this, to check who has just got like new round of funding, if this is an IoT company with all the Crunchbase databases and so on and so on. What's your process of client
Usually when those younger startups or companies are announcing that they have raised funds, then usually they already, it's too late for us.
Okay.
They already have the device. Someone invested the money because they proved to the investor that they have a working thing or device up and running. So usually that's the case. Of course, when we talk about that on seed rounds, then yeah, we have the opportunity, but I don't know, A rounds, then usually the things are up and running. What works is the inbound, that whenever they kick off with their internal researches, then we have made sure that they stumble upon us. They see information through different channels. We share a lot of technical information in the web, how to set things up, blah blah blah, and then they turn to us as well, and then the conversation starts. Then they start using our or testing our sims, and then we do a lot of automated onboarding when they start using the platform, which is called the IoT terminal. And then it's like a longer process of educating the customers as well, and sharing the knowledge and the information. And once the proof of concept or testing is completed, then we are just like hoping, or fingers crossed, that they start scaling and get their business going.
Being in the same boat with them, and of course you're motivated to help them as well. Look, there's another question. I think the last question in this section. Imagine there's a client with thousands of currently used SIM cards and so on for their IoT devices. Have you had experiences? Have you had the cases where you replaced currently used SIM card fleet with your own, or does it make sense at all for somebody who has already rolled out a fleet of, I don't know, thousands?
Really depends. There has been use cases as well, like you described. It really depends. If those are stationary devices, usually it's quite hard to replace the SIMs, and it can be a plastic SIM, which is easy to replace, but a lot of devices are using those chips that are soldered to the board.
Okay.
And those ones, it's let's say it's impossible.
It's a no-go actually for you, yeah?
Yeah, it's a no-go. Okay. So we have a lot of customers who need to run the legacy business or SIMs as well, and then new ones are ours. So that's the let's say 70% of the case.
So one of the ideas, like a long-term kind of mission or task, could be to educate the IoT market and focus on not inbuilt, like soldered and inbuilt kind of chips with the SIM cards, but to have more standalone kind of SIM cards to be able to replace at any moment. Maybe this will help to increase the coverage, right? The potential coverage of the market.
Yeah, and it's tricky because in early days they don't care about they just want the connectivity from whoever, and then the problem is somewhere else that they try to solve. They try to set up the device. They haven't even thought about what it is to handle tens of thousands of SIMs across the world. Maybe even investors are putting pressure on them that, hey, device needs to be live by that date, and then the connectivity they can take from the local telecom and see that works. Why we need to even investigate other options? We have other problems. But yeah, usually we have seen that once they start scaling, it's very tricky to handle thousands or tens of thousands of SIMs that are in different or hundreds of countries in the world. And then if you need to swap the SIMs out or debug or go there and see what's going on with a device on site, then it's catastrophic.
Another way of looking at your business development could be to contact all those IoT focused venture capital funds.
Yep.
Have you tried this
So
as well? And then approach their, especially those early stage kind of, because I understand this is the more lucrative for you and more promising. Have you tried
yeah,
this?
we are working together with different even investors, but most of all like different IoT hardware service providers who are helping from hardware side to set up devices for their customers. We are working together with some hardware manufacturers who are providing those modules to customers that they can recommend who to use from connectivity side. And we have worked together with accelerators, and there are different channels that we can use to acquire customers like that as well.
Because in a way, you would like, for you to prosper, you need IoT guys, companies to rethink the device designs, as a matter of fact, right? In many cases.
Yes, and whenever they set up their backends, that they need to think through that whether what they need to control, what kind of information they need to analyze through and receive to debug later on what's going on, like session information, or if they need to send out like usually like software updates or firmware updates on the devices are done through SMSs. Even they need to see whether they can group the SIMs that different batches get the updates differently. What there are a lot of management side that our one of the terminals solves, that you can there are bulk actions you can do with the SIMs and group them, name them, have the log when it was to see that from which batch those SIMs came from, and so on. So they need a lot of information once they have scaled and are operating different countries and need to debug.
You can assign to them like names per client, for example, right? For your end user and so on and so on. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, and they can
interesting.
Manage it all from one place.
Yes, Märt, interesting. Let's move on to the next round, competitors. Would you say this is a crowded place? I mean, it's almost a rhetorical question, but anyways, how do you plan to defend your ground and maybe even to become a leader of the industry? Let's start with that.
Yeah, it's super competitive actually out there, because of course all of the telecoms, like all of those 2,000 telecoms out there are our competitors. Plus there are a lot of resellers and the service providers like IoT on top as well. And those, we can see a lot of those and still popping up. So it is super competitive and everyone has their own angle. What we regard our strength is that we are true front runners in terms of eSIM. We are pushing this, and why it works super nicely for us is that we are truly independent from telecoms. We are not the telecom ourselves. We don't have any telecom elements ourselves. We are truly aggregating different telecoms under one roof. So we do not force our services on top. Customers can choose really whichever telecoms they wish from the list we can provide. So this is one very important aspect. The other one is that the platform that we are offering to our customers is built in-house. It is the most modern SIM management platform out there. A lot of competitors are using third-party platforms, but we receive feedback right away from our customers. We can develop it further, we can add new functionalities and so on. So like I mentioned, then the management side of the SIMs is the most critical thing for the customers. It's not about pricing usually. It starts with pricing topics when they start picking who they will be working with. But once it's live, they realize very quickly that it can be pricier. They don't care as long as they can manage those tens of thousands of SIMs remotely without spending too much time to debug and see the sessions or send information or SMSs to the devices and so on. So our platform that we have developed is very, very good. And actually the side business of ours is that we have been now licensing our platform to some of the telecoms as well. So we have 4 telecoms currently using the white label version of our SIM management platform, meaning that we have planted this platform to their servers. Their customers are using it and seeing the telecom logos and colors on the platform, but actually it's our platform that they are logging in, but they are controlling those telecom SIMs, not our SIMs, but actually those telecom SIMs. So, but it's the proof that as a standalone product, the platform is working as well. So, and proof that it is good. It's the best one for sure on the market. And eSIM combined with the platform, it creates a lot of synergies, because this, like I mentioned, the Tinder of telecom thing can't be happening for anyone else, because we are aggregating those telecoms under one service. We make sure that they can compare pricing, set up their pricing plans, and see all of the information from one place. So for sure, this is the power that we have, and the more traffic we will have, or volume we will have, the more telecoms we can offer to our customers, the better pricing we can offer to our customers. So over time, when we are scaling, the service just gets better and better. So it's just a matter of finding those customers and for customers to trust us, because still some are saying that Vodafone is a strong brand, I need this, and it is a strong brand. I won't argue against it, but when they need to scale globally and manage it from one place, then it's not working for them. It might work in certain regions or use cases only. So it needs to be more flexible out there on the market, and that is the biggest angle. And the third angle that we try to take advantage of as well is that the eSIM infrastructure, so far we licensed this from a third party, but now we developed it ourselves. And the eSIM infrastructure means that it's the brain or the warehouse where all of those telecom profiles are sitting. For example, million profiles from telecom A, million profiles from telecom B, and this infrastructure, which is actually a set of just servers in a very secure room. From this infrastructure, we tell that please download this profile to this particular eSIM, then delete the old one. And this infrastructure now is also built by us, controlled by us. So the quality of service for sure is very good, because when we talk about eSIM infrastructure, there are 43 sites in the world, controlled by 30 companies, and those companies are like Thales, which was previously called Gemalto, or ITKeyMedia, or then G&D, and these are like companies with billions of euros of revenue. Those so far have been controlling those eSIM infrastructure and licensing these infrastructures to others. But now we are the first one who on the market to have the same infrastructure, who has licensed or certified the site and offering this to our customers. So we are controlling like key elements of the system ourselves, which is the eSIM infrastructure, the platform, and the eSIM card itself. So those are controlled by us, not by any third parties, and that provides very good and quick, good quality service and quick reaction times and support times. So,
but also I think gives you more solid kind of position in front of telecom providers as well, right? Because
absolutely.
then you're all inclusive kind of solution provider. It's more reliable. I mean, it's better to have such a reliable partner that has an own infrastructure.
And our focus is 100% on IoT sector. The whole service is built for that sector. So if you take, I don't know, whoever like telecom, their business interest might be somewhere else, right? I don't know, like consumer clients using SIMs in, consumer devices, or I don't know, even some kind of services, internet service they provide to residential buildings or so on.
Yeah.
So their business interest is spread across different departments, but our sole focus is to get the IoT things going, and we are much more closer to the customer, so we are actually helping them from hardware side as well, and this is something that others are not doing. So that is our competitive advantage for sure, and those things we very much try to stress when onboarding our customers as well, and point out that these are important elements. And once they start scaling, I mean the customers start scaling, then later on they anyway realize, but it's maybe at the early days hard to convince them because they probably have the pain points elsewhere as well, and then they might think that Vodafone is or T-Mobile or big guys are the best partner for them, but it might not be, right? And we have seen that that we provide actually a lot of value when they start scaling and start operating in different countries.
This laser sharp focus on IoT industry as such probably gives you also this competitive edge, but also educational edge, and also you collect all the case studies from different sectors in IoT, which then allows you, I think, to utilize or capitalize on this snowboarding effect of knowledge of clients of new countries with similar issues and so on and so on. I mean,
yeah, we are actually like playing with the idea that now we have seen so many mistakes that our customers have been doing. So there should be or we could even launch like a separate, I don't know, consultation service to help them, avoid the mistakes that are actually, the mistakes are all the same across all of the companies, whether it's from micromobility or healthcare or agriculture. We see the same mistakes done again and again by different customers. So yeah,
at what stage are the mistakes more visible and more, let's say, like silly or more costly? At design stage, at manufacturing, IoT manufacturing, or
it's design,
rollout implementation? Design, yeah, okay.
Design and how they actually run it, and how they configure the device, what it is capable of doing, and easy things like if they can't do the remotely full reset to the device, a lot in a lot of cases even reset of the device solves a lot, because then it comes live again. Some have not configured it, so that's the stupid easy example that we see happening on the market.
You know how I call this in any situation like this where I need to switch off, switch on? I call this so-so rule. It's a so-so. Use the so-so rule. Why? Switch off, switch on. But it helps so often. Märt, thank you. Let's move on with this in mind. And now the next one will be more kind of laid back. Round number 3 about your productivity hacks as a busy man of a growing startup. What are the most interesting, most effective productivity hacks? And again, not the tools, but the ways you do things to be on top of your calendar to-do list, balancing between life and work and so on.
Whatever I do, I actually the whole team is doing the same things. Actually, it's not just me, but how we do it, and of course those things can be done only in a smaller team or in a department, not in a company that has, I don't know, hundreds of employees. But communication and transparency. So we have 4 big pillars in the culture, which is one is no bullshit. So everything is straightforward. Yes, no, will do, will not do. Then get shit done is the other pillar. Is that the main goal is to get things done, not to waste time on talking. So we say we do it or not. If we don't do it, then we communicate this out. And transparent collaboration is the third one. It is transparent to everyone. I can later on explain how we do it as well. And the fourth pillar is we are students. So we have the student mentality. We are not trying to act like the smartest people on planet Earth, not playing or trying to be like directors or important people. We want to learn, and with learning, doing mistakes or making mistakes is acceptable as well, as long as we learn from those. So we try to keep this student mentality as well. And how we actually operate and what tools we use is that every Monday we gather everyone from the team. We have a weekly meeting where we go through everyone's goals for the week. Everyone has set their weekly goals day by day. And on Friday, we have another weekly meeting where we conclude the week, how far we reached, what were the problems, and share information. So that is super transparent. Everybody knows what are the goals for the week for everyone. Those goals are visible in Toggle Plan, where the software we are using. So everyone are filling it in there. And it's communicated out to everyone. So if someone are saying that, yeah, my goal for this week is to deal with this or that or solve that, then others know it as well, can jump in if they think that they can help and so on. So very straightforward and transparent to everyone, very easy. So that's the one part. So very structured, very transparent. We are setting goals. Everyone are communicating those out. So all of the calendars are up to date when someone is on or off or out of office. We don't waste time on any administrative things. So I don't need to call to anyone to ask whether he or she is available at this time or that time. I open the calendar, I see everyone. I can schedule the meeting right away. we don't waste time on any of those hassles. The focus is to get things done, and we are not hiding anything. It's like it's not we don't have the culture where no one can just hide something. It's like transparent, visible, and the main why we do it, why it makes why it is cool to work here is that we get things done. Everyone are trusted, and you can make difference, you can lead, you can. So that's the mentality we have across the board, and of course all of the people are carrying it along. And then I think the productivity comes along, that if it's structured, if it's shared with others can jump in whenever they can support with this or that, then we get things done in a small group. And it's usually people are amazed that IoT basically 25 people are running the whole show at IoT, and we are doing probably hundreds people, like a group of hundreds, 100 people work. So, but it's not, we are not doing long days. We also we are working like just super efficiently, but not over hours. So and currently it works like that. Of course, when we scale bigger, then probably we need to adjust a bit or change a bit. But currently we are super productive and we get things done, and that what provides the fulfillment in the team as well.
So you do not allow to crack a joke or to have fun during the work time, I understand. Just to be within the
we are like
just to be within to be within your working hours. It's almost a joke there, of course, but it sounds like this.
Yeah, it's of course we have a lot of jokes. We it's a crazy bunch of people here, so we have a lot of jokes. But yeah, we are super efficient as well, and I think there are no people at IoT who just come to work to just spend the time. They have like goals in mind that they want to achieve, and prove to themselves. So and that's the environment we have been creating here. So people
yes, great. Let's combine this round with the round number 4 right now. So I mentioned you are 25 people around that space. Okay, so I understand you as a top manager, a co-founder, like chief strategist for the company and so on. Why goal setting is important, why goal review is important, and so on. Now, what is the gratification, or should I say rewards and bonuses, let's say, or whatever that you have in mind for not only successful goal setting is clear, but then if goals are set and they are achieved regularly, stay in a stable manner, do you as co-founder and top manager of the company foresee any kind of remuneration for sustainable goal achievements? If this is not purely, and let's say this is not purely sales, which is easy, right? There's a quota, there's a target, you reach in this percentage, and this is your bonus.
Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be playful. It needs to be a win-win if something is achieved as well, right? And
yeah, is it discretionary? I understand.
So it really depends, department by department, different mechanisms used. And different mechanisms used in different cycles where the company is in as well, right? So early days, of course, option program is one that can be used because usually companies do not have much money to share, but they can allocate the options. Later on, there are different bonus schemes that can be implemented. And this is something that probably everyone in the startup field are doing anyway. That's like a standard, and you need to those need to be in line, that you know, if some milestones are achieved or outperformed, then you know, there needs to be a mechanism in place for that as well. But yeah, it's very tricky to actually set those things, because especially early on when startups are young and you know, maybe naive in setting some of the goals as well. Usually all of those goals are much harder to achieve, and it takes much longer than, you know, initially anticipated.
Yeah. I had one question, Mark. You mentioned the tool where you put up your goals. What's the name of the tool?
It's a toggle plan.
How do you spell that? TOGGL?
Yep. And plan.
Toggle plan. I'll have a look.
Yeah, the toggle track is the tool for tracking time, and toggle plan is a tool for setting the goals, and it's shared across the company, and week by week you can see the goals, and you can mark the goals done. You can even share the goals with the colleagues, that you have common goals, and so on. So very cool tool, works for us. And actually it's quite, whoever gets this right, that you know, they understand the system, are actually the top performers of the company as well. That with easy correlation between who sets the goals and has like organized way of achieving something is a top performer actually. And because they set the plan in place, they set the goals in place, they know day by day what they want to do and need to do. They have goals in mind. So, and if they write them down, then whether it's on paper or you know, to the software is just good because it can be shared with others, then it is a goal that they can head, you know, towards too.
There's nothing wrong as to run. Wait. There is nothing more wrong than to run in the wrong direction, right?
Yeah, and it's usually, yeah, and it's better to have you know, a bad plan than to have no plan at all, right? At least if you learn from that and move towards or someone can help you that, hey, you know, you're moving to you know, wrong direction. But if you're not sharing with others, then probably you end up in a wrong direction.
Oh, interesting. Are there any situations of goal editing or modifications by others?
Yeah, that's why we are sharing on Mondays and Friday evenings as well, that we are sharing that what went wrong, or who can help. I don't know, someone can even say that, you know, I'm stuck, you know, nothing I can do. If anyone has any idea how to solve this, then, you know, reach out, I'm just stuck. So those cases are very common.
Cool. Interesting. Just to make sure we keep track of the tool, I will check it later on, but for the viewers, it's TOGGL plan, toggle plan, TOGGL plan. This is not a plug, nothing. I heard this for the first time. I'll check it out. Thank you.
The Estonian company, actually. So
widely known in narrow circles. I am outside of those circles, but I will catch up. Now, let's move on to the final one, round 5, Formula F3, which is funding for the future, as we call that. Now, in a very nutshell, what's the history of the company's funding by now? And then we'll move on to the future.
Yeah? So initial funding was done by myself and by Mobi Solutions Group. And Mobi Solutions is a group that has been operating in the telecom field since 2001. So the idea of One actually came from them, and the execution came from me, because I'm not, when I founded 1OT, then I had no experience from telecom sector myself. So I had the great, honor to ask all of the stupid questions and think maybe differently. And they gave the idea and seed money as well. So and then we were trying to raise money early on, and investors were thinking more like that it's not highly scalable or very they said it's scalable but not fast enough for them. But luckily we got EU grant of 1.4 million from Horizon 2020, and that gave us decent runway. And actually after that we have been cash flow positive, generating money and investing our own cash flows to growth. So we have been lucky actually on that front. And now the funny thing is that of course all of the competitors see that we are doing something right, and then it's again like when you need the money no one gives you, when you don't need it then everybody wants to give you money. So now we could raise the money, but haven't seen the need yet. We might consider it, of course, if we see opportunity to either acquire someone or fuel the growth. Then of course we need money, because we are not I don't know, super rich here that can do whatever. Now we are not so powerful, but we can grow heavily. We can invest our own cash flows into new projects, and no problems on that front.
Interesting. One remark there. So you said you would be also looking for, if there's a good opportunity, to acquire a company. And what target would you be having in mind? Like what type of company you would be interested to consider acquiring? Is it because of a market expansion? Is it because of a new technology, or you need more like complementarity on the brain side?
Actually, all of those have been on the plate. So one part is,
so you have considered already somebody? You have considered already somebody as a target?
Of course we have, but hasn't materialized yet. But yeah, we have been looking into getting, of course, brain power from market, like expansion wise and market wise. We have been looking into acquiring some kind of companies that could add some kind of value added service to us. Have been looking into IoT hardware service providers and so on. So expanding horizontally and vertically, all of those options have been on the at least we have been discussing about those. But of course the other thing why we haven't done it either is that the focus might be lost, and currently we are not so big yet to go everywhere. It's better to do your thing perfectly and focus on that, not to try to get all of the pieces of the puzzle covered, because we need to understand where we are strong as of today and how we can make this thing stronger. I think that's the most important thing as of today. So that's why we haven't been rushing so heavily, and that's why we thought that we build the eSIM infrastructure. Then there are a few other things we want to build on top as well. Those will be done definitely in-house. So those things cannot be acquired. It actually in our stage it makes more sense to still focus on what we are good at not to expand to different verticals, but yeah, how to get the brain power, how to expand to other markets who has better knowledge on the market. Yeah, it's either finding the right people who can build the team around that him or her, or usually not the acquiring case.
Märt, what can I say? Acquire, not acquire, the idea and the company itself seems to me like one of those catalyst companies for the whole IoT industry. And if there's any part of humanity that will be growing for sure, no matter the geopolitical or economic situations and so on, this is the IoT. I mean, we've started this process, what, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, step by step, reaching like pretty advanced level of today, but it's just the beginning still. You would agree, right? And your company business model, the idea and so on, is probably one of those key elements for the IoT further evolution. And I wish you good luck on this road. Successes, of course, as well, and we'll be following your successes on the go on our website at ITKeyMedia, and hope you will share with us interesting stories as well.
Absolutely. So thank you for those kind words, and yeah, we do our best to make it happen ourselves as well. And yeah, great to see that we have helped a lot of IoT companies to scale worldwide already as of today, and we hope that there will be millions and tens of millions of SIMs we can sell to customers who are about to scale and conquer the world.
Yeah, moreover, I think you might be also a key for those people that are afraid or still considering to enter the universe of IoT, let's say industry and so on, and they're standing in front of this door. And I can imagine that if they understand what you can bring to their desk and table and business and so on, they might be using you as a key to enter the IoT industry. Because with you in mind, I have a couple of IoT ideas myself now, right? For international expansion and so on. So I think for those specialized in this respect, those students, third year, fourth year students in electrical engineering or mechanical engineering departments all around the world, I think this is something to consider right now, not to waste all their design and manufacturing effort when they are ready to roll out their businesses. Märt, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you.
Thank you. Bye.